Καλημέρα. Καλώς ορίσατε σήμερα στο πρόγραμμά μας εδώ στην Ακαδημία Σοκράτη. Ήθελα να σας ευχαριστήσω εκ μέρους του Δυτικό Συμβούλιο που ήρθατε και νομίζω θα περάσουμε μια ευχάριστη ημέρα. Good morning and welcome to Socrates Academy and our celebration of our beloved Mr. Larry Peroulas. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Today we want to celebrate the life and accomplishments of Mr. Peroulas. We are here to express our appreciation for his vision, dedication, and the many hours he put into the school. This is a day of remembrance, not a day of sorrow or sadness. Reality. Now it is our turn to pick up where he left off and to make his dream even better. We cannot overlook the significance of this event occurring around the time that we celebrate the Greek Letters Day. Like these religious figures of the Orthodox Church, Larry Peroulas promoted the Greek language everywhere he went with passion and vigor. In fact, when we started working together, many complimented me on how much my Greek had improved. And all I told them was that I had a good teacher. So sit back, reflect, and enjoy our program. I know Mr. Peroulas is smiling down on us, and as he always reminded us, we are a family and we should love each other.
Welcome, everyone. Καλώς ήρθατε. On behalf of the Socrates Academy Foundation, I am honored to be here today to celebrate the life of our beloved founder, Mr. Larry Peroulas. Today we come together to remember and honor the man who dedicated his life to improving the lives of others through education. As someone who had the privilege of working closely with Mr. Peroulas during the last couple years of his life, I attest to his unwavering commitment to the mission of the foundation. I will always remember the way he would light up when he talked about his students, the way he would work tirelessly to ensure that every child had the opportunity to succeed. He was a true visionary, and his passion for education was evident in everything he did. His generosity, his kindness, and leadership will always be remembered, and his legacy will continue to live through the Foundation's mission. He was the driving force behind the Foundation and the one who made it all possible. I learned so much from him, and I will always be grateful for the opportunity to have known him and worked with him. I remember the time when Mr. Peroulas asked me to join the Foundation Board of Trustees. We were an hour and a half deep into what was supposed to be a 30-minute conversation, discussing the future of the Foundation and the challenges we were facing. Suddenly, he stopped and said, "I think you would be perfect for the board. You have the passion, the drive, and the dedication to make a real difference. Will you join us?" I was both honored and surprised. I had never considered myself as a leader, but Mr. Peroulas saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. He believed in me and gave me the opportunity to make a real difference in the community. From that moment on, I knew that I had a responsibility to make a positive impact, to continue the work that he had started. He became a mentor, a guide, and a friend. always there to offer advice and support. Today, I am left with a sense of both sadness and inspiration. The loss of such a great leader, mentor, and friend is difficult to bear. But at the same time, the legacy he has left behind is such a source of motivation and hope. His passion for education and his dedication to the betterment of the community is something that we should all strive to emulate. His selfless work has touched so many lives, and his impact will continue to be felt for many years to come. Let us continue to honor his memory by striving to make a positive impact in our community and inspire others just the way he did. Thank you.
Of Greece, the Ergos Throsides. This poem describes the strong desire of Greek immigrants to take some Greeks long journeys to foreign places in order to remain connected and eventually return back home. I will wear you as an amulet on my breast, and when my heart wears you, be helped by you, and will not be bewitched by other foreign beauties. Give me grace wherever I turn, wherever I stand. You will kindle in me only one desire, to return to Greece.
Όμα ελληνικό. Τώρα που θα φύγω και θα πάω στα ξένα και θα ζούμε μήνες, χρόνους χωρισμένοι, άφησε να πάρω κάτι κι από σένα, γαλανή πατρίδα πολύ αγαπημένη. Άφησε μαζί μου φυλαχτό να πάρω απ' την κάθε λύπη, κάθε τι κακό, φυλαχτό απ' αρρώστια, φυλαχτό από χάρο, μόνο λίγο χώμα, χώμα ελληνικό.
Κασαγέρι, χώμα βαφτισμένο με βροχή του Μάη, χώμα μυρισμένο από το καλοκαίρι, χώμα ευλογημένο, κάτω κλίμα, το ξαντό σιτάρι, τη χλωρίτη δάφνη, την πικρή ελιά. Χώμα που θα φέρνει στο μικρό εμένα, θάρρος, σε βάρη. Παίρνει δύναμη ζωή. Άλλαξε ένα κάλλι. Η δική σου χάρη θα με δυναμώνει. Κι όπου κι αν γυρίσω, κι όπου κι αν σταθώ. Σύντονα μου δίνεις παραμονή. Πότε στην Ελλάδα πίσω θα να έρθω. Μου, έρημο και μαύρο, μου γράψε να φύγω και να μην γυρίσω. Το στερνό συγχώριο εις εσένα θα βρω. Το στερνό φιλί μου θα να σου χαρίσω. Έτσι, κι αν σε ξένα χώματα πεθάνω και το ξένο μνήμα θα είναι πιο γλυκό. Θα ταυτείς μαζί μου στην καρδιά μου επάνω. Χώμα αγαπημένο, χώμα ελληνικό.
Καλημέρα. so nice to see so many of you, familiar faces from the present and from many years ago. It's sad that it takes such an occasion to bring us together. So it's an honor to be here today, surrounded by so many of you to remember and celebrate the life of our dear friend Larry. This is surely a testament of the profound impact he had on so many of us and the countless lives he touched over the years. I have many fond memories of Larry, but one that stands out in particular is when he recruited me to teach in the Greek afternoon school at Holy Trinity. I believe it was around 2000. I recall the preparations for the various Greek school celebrations. Those of you from the Greek community know exactly what I mean. The Greek school doesn't need a whole lot of reason to have a celebration, and we have many over through the year. So, but I recall one particular banner that Larry would always retrieve for these events. It read, "Ό,τι δεν γιορτάζεται ξεχνιέται και πεθαίνει." Can you visualize that banner? It's always in the front of the stage. It means everything that is not celebrated is forgotten and dies. This message always resonated with me. Of course, the banner referred to the Greek history and culture, the religious and national holidays. But I believe the message is especially fitting for today as we come together to celebrate and remember Larry. Now and then, we meet or hear of people whose contributions last and remain impactful beyond their lifetime. Larry was one such person. Larry's immeasurable contributions to our Greek community, our Hebo community, our Socrates Academy community will keep his memory eternal. Ever since I have known Larry, he always had a clear sense of purpose and the passion and commitment to pursue it. He always knew what the target was. And once he put his mind on something, there was not much anyone could do to derail him. No matter how hard we tried sometimes. But I'm not going to say that the journey was always smooth or easy. Some, observing our meetings and heated discussions, surely thought there was no way that we would accomplish anything. Several times I had to explain that what they were observing was coming from the heart, from caring and loving and being passionate about our shared dream. To build a school that would make our community proud, a school whose accomplishments would reach beyond the local to the national and international stage. A school that would impact children's lives and graduate scholars who grow up to be exemplary citizens. That's a big dream. It's not one that could be accomplished merely with seasoned debate and cool calculus. It's a dream that needs champions with focus of purpose, determination, and infectious passion. Someone who could draft anyone and everyone willing to listen to join the cause. And that is what Larry brought to the table. You heard earlier, Clea said how she was recruited, and I'm sure many others feel the same way as she did. I know others will also talk about Larry's contributions to Socrates Academy, so I'm not going to say much more about that beyond using just one word to describe those contributions. Incalculable, amέτρητες, ανυπολόγιστες. I want to say something more about how I experienced Larry as a person. As much as Larry was a leader and a visionary, he was also a kind and caring person. He had a heart of gold, was always caring, always giving, always willing to go the extra mile to help someone. And many times that someone was I or a person in my family or another friend of mine that Larry didn't even know. Every time I asked, he never said no. Many times he offered before I even asked. And I was not the exception. That is how Larry was with everyone. His kindness and generosity will not be forgotten. Larry lived a beautiful life and left behind a great legacy. We will always remember him with love and affection. He will remain in our hearts and thoughts forever. We miss him dearly, but we're grateful for the time we had with him, and we cherish his memories for years to come. Thank you.
Γεια σας. Kalimera. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your willingness to share your time and your memories about Mr. Peroulas. This day is a day where we shall all celebrate him, his work, his life, and do so with joy, without sadness. But I have to admit that this poem did it for me. Listening to Homa Eliniko is very difficult not to feel that sadness. So that was a trick. I will admit that staying with joy and no sadness is not easy. However, it's possible. And it's possible as I see you all here, and I see what you all represent. You all represent the continuation of his work. That's what you all represent, and that's why you're all here. I would like to share my experience and work with Mr. Peroulas. I met him in 2015 when I first came to Charlotte as an assistant professor at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. I was immediately fascinated with his passion for learning, with his strive for growth, for accomplishment, for recognition, not of himself, not of him, but of the school, of the scholars, of the teachers. I remember at that time, he spoke with Mr. Rigos from the Odyssey Charter, because I was earlier in Delaware. And both of these men, they share the value of experiencing everything that has to do with Greece, of the value of Greece, of the philosophy, of what does it mean to have that Greek spirit of pedia. And when I came and I spoke with Mr. Peroulas, I felt like home. His words made me feel like home, like I was at home. It was, and it is a challenge not to be captivated by the waves of words and persuasiveness with a persistence and a commitment to convince that Mr. Peroulas had. He was not using logos and pathos, he used ethos to show you, to the listener, the value of the goal. His reasons were based on ideas, on the common good. I have never, Mr. Peroulas will never take answer no. No didn't exist in his vocabulary. And he was extremely persuasive and persistent. And 5 minutes will become 10. We will do this. Yes, we'll make it happen. He was a man who was so humble and so giving, who would do the hard work and the right thing, not because someone expected it, but because it was the right thing to do, and because it had to be done. His level of ethics and value on the values of pedia or generosity were impeccable. He was a man who truly knew and understood the meaning of gratitude. That gratitude that was also combined with commitment and responsibility. He was grateful for the support of others, grateful of the support of the families, but he was committed 100% in making Socrates an exemplary school, with faculty who had pride in their presence at the school, with students who were honored and were proud to be in this school, with students who were honored to make a difference, excited to follow the work of Socrates in dialectics, in critical thinking, while seeking truth and arete. His vision of a scholar who was here to make that difference in the world, improve the life of everyone, was instilled in the program design of this curriculum, of this school, in the vision of a graduate who is not just a high school diploma holder, but a dynamic voice who can and will bring change in this world. I respected Mr. Peroulas, and I argued with him. It was not possible not to argue with Mr. Peroulas. We argued, we were loud, and we were passionate. We also did that because we cared for the school, we cared for the students, we cared for the teachers, and we cared for each other. And I admit that I missed that argument. It was arguing, but there was love and respect. And I know it was from us both, because we both cared for the same values. Arete, pedia, and aristemi, high ethics in education and in the way education is conducted. It is a challenge to visit Charlotte and not think of Mr. Peroulas, as he was like a father. I often said to Tony that I don't like to argue with Mr. Peroulas because he's like my father. He had and he has high expectations of himself and of others. He works very hard, doing far more than what he expects anyone else to do. He would work much more, and I respected that, like I respect my father. And I celebrated that, even when we argued, and we did argue. Mr. Peroulas passed away, but this is not the end. We continue his work. And like Socrates, we engage in the Socratic fly on what is of value, what is arete, what is the truth, what is the goal. This is not the end. This school, this work, this family of scholars, this board, the board of trustees, the board members, make a difference in the world, and all are his legacy. I'm so happy I met him, and I will not hide that I do miss him. I miss him as anyone would miss a family member, as he was my connection to my Greece. The Greece I have in my heart and is away from me. As I shared earlier, this is a day we shall all celebrate him, his work, his life, and do so with joy and glee, without sadness. I told you from the beginning, this is not easy. However, it's possible, because I see you all, and I see what all of you represent, the continuation of that work. And here are my words for you. Have philotimo. Live your life with arete. Seek philoxenia. Work with dedication. Do anything you say you'll do. Do it to the best you can. Anything you choose to do it to the highest level. Carry Socrates in your heart. Make a difference. Yes, and aristemi. Make him and make all of us very proud. Thank you.
Many years ago, I met Miss Janice Dellinger Holton, and she was telling me about what a wonderful and special place Socrates Academy was. This is before my grandchildren ever started here. And then after that, I met Mr. Peroulas and all of the wonderful, very special people that worked here then, that continue to work here now. And I realized she was right. It's a very special place. It always has been and it always will be. As we gather here together today to celebrate the life of Mr. Peroulas, I hope that we will always remember that he was a ray of sunshine and a beacon of hope for the education of our children. His commitment and love for Socrates was unending. His days were spent generating ideas and finding new ways to be of service to others, finding ways to ensure that the education of our children would be taken care of. Once when I asked him how he was able to maintain all the energy and enthusiasm that he always showed for our school and our children, he said, "This is my life. I do it for our children, for their future, for their education." His energy inspired me to do all that I can every day to achieve goals that will be of benefit to others, especially to our children. I thought to myself, if he's not tired, how can I be? The light that he generated was always shining so brightly that it touched everyone that he met. Today, even though he's not here in person, he is here in spirit. The spirit of all that he represented and fought so hard for, fought so hard to achieve, everything he did, remains alive and will never die. As we celebrate his life, we must also celebrate and appreciate the many gifts that he has given us. Gifts of love, dedication, commitment, patience, faith, kindness, service, determination, and endurance no matter what. Even though his shoes are much too big to fill, we must continue to honor his legacy in what we do and in how we live. Our commitment to the continued growth and success of Socrates Academy must be unwavering as we work together for the success of our students and our school through the realization of his dreams for Socrates Academy. I thank you for allowing me to speak about Mr. Peroulas, and I thank God for allowing me to be a part of this great work, because it is great work. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the celebration of the life for Larry Peroulas. I'm going to get through it. Zoe, your speech was unbelievable. And then Brenda. I thought I could do this without crying, so just forgive me for a minute. I had the privilege of working alongside Mr. Peroulas as president of the board. And yes, we argued. And someone said we were like an old married couple. That when they came in, and we always came to agreement at the end of whatever, and he usually got his way. In celebrating Mr. Peroulas' life today and thinking of things that I would say, I thought of three things from the mind and the heart. First, his love of his family, his wife Effie, his son Costas and Maria, and his wonderful grandchildren. He loved them dearly. Secondly, his respect and honor of the Greek culture and the community of Greek families here in Charlotte and all over the world. His dedication and devotion to education and learning will never, ever be forgotten. Mr. Peroulas was tireless in his dedication to Socrates Academy. I would say it was an extreme passion to watch the Academy grow from K-5 to K-8 and now the high school, which was his dream and now a reality. He dreamed it from the beginning. He was a true servant leader, always available to speak about expanding knowledge and learning whenever and wherever possible. His fundraising efforts that he directed were endless. And yes, he would not take no. Right, Mr. Cushell? Larry will be truly missed. He's already missed. But his legacy will inspire us all to continue his mission and his dream. For those of us who knew him well, worked with him, and loved him, we owe him a debt of gratitude. May his memory be eternal. Thank you.
Της δικαιοσύνης ήλιε. Το ποίημα αυτό αποτελεί απόσπασμα από το ποιητικό έργο «Άξιον εστί» του Οδυσσέα Ελίτη, του ποιητή που βραβεύτηκε με το Νόμπελ Λογοτεχνίας το 1979. Πρόκειται για ένα συγκλονιστικό ποίημα, μια από τις κορυφαίες δημιουργίες στον χώρο της παγκόσμιας ποίησης. Μελοποιήθηκε από τον Μίκη Θεοδωράκη και είναι ένα από τα πιο γνωστά του τραγούδια. Το μελοποιημένο αυτό ποίημα είναι ένα τραγούδι σύμβολο της Ελλάδας και αναφέρεται στις αξίες της ελευθερίας, της αγάπης και της ειρήνης. Χιλιοτραγουδήθηκε από τον ελληνικό λαό, καθώς συνδέθηκε με τους αγώνες του για την ελευθερία και τη δημοκρατία. Son of Justice. This poem is an excerpt from the poetic work Axion Esti by Odysseus Elitis, the poet who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1979. It is a sensational poem, one of the leading creations in the field of world poetry. This poem was set to music by Mikis Theodorakis and is one of his best-known songs. It is a song symbol of Greece and refers to the values of freedom, love, and peace. It was sung by the Greek people as it was associated with their struggles for freedom and democracy. Son of Justice and you, myrtle, branch of glory, do not, I beg you, do not forget my country. My country has tall mountains, set like eagles, the vines in ranks of the volcano's flanks, and the houses more white in the neighborhood of the blue.
και τα σπίτια πιο λευκά. Και τα σπίτια πιο λευκά. Και τα σπίτια πιο λευκά στους αυτούς το νησό. Εννοείται και μυρσίνιαση μη παρακαλώ σας μη παρακαλώ σας μη παρακαλώ σας λησμονάτε την ώρα μου. Μη παρακαλώ σας λησμονάτε μου.
I need to have all the music because boys and girls, this is all right. Next.
Η ελληνική γλώσσα, ελληνική.
Η ελληνική γλώσσα. Όταν κάποτε φύγω από τούτο το φως, θα ελιχθώ προς τα πάνω, όπως ένα ριακάκι που μουρμουρίζει. Και αν τυχόν κάπου, ανάμεσα στους γαλάζιους διαδρόμους, συναντήσω αγγέλους, θα τους μιλήσω ελληνικά, επειδή δεν ξέρουν γλώσσες. Μιλάνε μεταξύ τους με μουσική.
Ο Λευτέρης Περούλας, ο άνθρωπος που αφιέρωσε το χρόνο και την ενέργειά του στην ελληνόγλωση εκπαίδευση της περιοχής μας, είναι εδώ, στην Ακαδημία Σοκράτη, και σήμερα και κάθε μέρα. Ζει και ανασένει με την Ελλάδα στην καρδιά του. Το όραμά του και οι ιδέες του συνεχίζουν να μας εμπνέουν και να μας καθοδηγούν. Τον γνώρισα το 2016 και είχα την τιμή να συνεργαστώ στενά μαζί του και στην Ακαδημία Σοκράτη και στο Ελληνικό Απογευματινό Σχολείο της Αγίας Τριάδας. Η προσφορά του και στα δύο αυτά σχολεία αποτελεί παράδειγμα εργατικότητας και αφοσίωσης. Συχνά μου μιλούσε για τη ζωή του, τα δύσκολα παιδικά χρόνια, τον επίμονο και επίπονο αγώνα για σπουδές στην Ελλάδα και στην Αμερική, καθώς και για την επαγγελματική του διαδρομή. Έλαμπε το πρόσωπό του από χαρά και ικανοποίηση όταν αναφερόταν στην Ακαδημία Σοκράτη, στις τιμητικές διακρίσεις και στα επιτεύγματα των μαθητών μας. Ήταν πάντα παρόν στις γιορτές μας και χειροκροτούσε με ενθουσιασμό. Τραγουδούσε και χόρευε μαζί μας. Παρότρινε τους δασκάλους μας να δείχνουν αγάπη στους μαθητές, να σέβονται και να αναγνωρίζουν τις ιδιαιτερότητες του καθενός. Τα παιδιά θέλουν αγάπη, αγάπη, αγάπη. Δώστε τους αγάπη και μετά μπορείτε να τα διδάξετε ό,τι θέλετε. Έτσι μας έλεγε στις συναντήσεις που είχαμε. Λευτέρη Περούλα, όλοι εμείς στην Ακαδημία Σοκράτη είμαστε ευγνώμονες για όσα απλόχερα και με τόση αγάπη μας προσέφερες.
Και συμπατριώτισσες, αγαπητές φίλες, αγαπητοί φίλοι, κυρίες και κύριοι. Με ιδιαίτερη χαρά βρίσκομαι σήμερα ανάμεσά σας από την Αθήνα και φυσικά από τη Γενική Γραμματεία Απόδημου Ελληνισμού και Δημόσιας Διπλωματίας του Υπουργείου Εξωτερικών. Βρισκόμαστε σήμερα εδώ για να τιμήσουμε τη μνήμη του Ελευθερίου Περούλα, Λάρη Περούλας, από τη διοικητική Φραγκίστα Ευρυτανίας και ιδρυτή της Ακαδημίας Σοκράτης. Πνεύμα ανήσυχο, καινοτόμο και δημιουργικό, με βαθιά αγάπη για την Ελλάδα, την ιστορία και τον πολιτισμό της, ο Ελευθέριος Περούλας συνέλαβε την ιδέα και υλοποίηση της ίδρυσης της Ακαδημίας Σοκράτης πριν από 18 χρόνια. Μέσα σε λίγα χρόνια έφτασε να είναι ένα από τα κορυφαία δημόσια σχολεία της Βόρειας Καρολίνας, με εκατοντάδες μαθητές, στο οποίο διδάσκεται η ελληνική γλώσσα και πολιτισμός σε όλες τις τάξεις. Θεωρούσε την παιδεία υπέρτατο αγαθό και με την Ακαδημία Σοκράτης έκανε γνωστό τον ελληνικό πολιτισμό σε όλο τον κόσμο. Η Ελλάδα και ο ελληνικός πολιτισμός, η παιδεία και οι αξίες που αντιπροσωπεύουν συνεχίζουν να εμπνέουν και να καθοδηγούν τους Έλληνες της Διασποράς. Ο ελληνισμός του εξωτερικού συνιστά πολύτιμο εθνικό κεφάλαιο. Η υποστήριξη των συμφερόντων των ανά τον κόσμο απόδημων Ελλήνων, καθώς και η σύσφυξη των δεσμών τους με το Μητροπολιτικό Κέντρο αποτελεί τον βασικό πυλώνα μας. Η Γενική Γραμματεία Απόδημου Ελληνισμού και Δημόσιας Διπλωματίας επενδύει στην εξωστρέφεια του ελληνικού πνεύματος και στο ρόλο των πολιτιστικών φορέων και οργανώσεων, αφενός για τη διάδοση του ελληνικού πολιτισμού και αφετέρου για την ενημέρωση του διεθνούς κοινού. Τέλος, αφού ευχηθώ κάθε επιτυχία στις εργασίες της εκδήλωσής σας, θα ήθελα να υπογραμμίσω ότι η Γενική Γραμματεία Απόδημου Ελληνισμού και Δημόσιας Διπλωματίας παραμένει συμπαραστάτης και αρρωγός σε όλες τις προσπάθειες που θα συνεχίσει να ενθαρρύνει με κάθε πρωτοβουλία και κάθε δράση που εμπνέει και προσφέρει οξυγόνο ελληνικού πολιτισμού.
Good morning. My name is Paul Spickus, and I've been a student at Socrates Academy since kindergarten. I feel very blessed and grateful for the foundation to my education here at Socrates. It has truly taken a village throughout the years for Socrates Academy to be a school of excellence, but it all began with a man who had a vision. This special man that we honored today was Mr. Larry Peroulas. His vision was brought to life by his integrity, untouchable drive, and passion for education, Greek language, culture, children, and family. He was truly an intelligent, one-of-a-kind man that positively impacted so many lives of all ages. Mr. Larry Peroulas was the voice, the eyes, and the hard-working man behind the scenes at Socrates Academy. There aren't enough words to express how much we miss Mr. Larry Peroulas. He left us too early and will never be forgotten. Though he isn't physically here with us, he is in spirit looking down on us and wanting us to continue to strive for excellence with everything we do at Socrates Academy. As he would always say, have philotimo, respect, and ethos. En aristevni, my children, always be excellent. Oti then yortazete apoxenonete ke petheni. Anything that is not celebrated is forgotten. We will celebrate and cherish Mr. Larry Peroulas forever, as his everlasting legacy will continue shining brightly on many generations to come at Socrates Academy.
Morning. I was hoping that John would introduce me so we can find out who I am. But you know, in most extraordinary accomplishments, there are heroes, and there are unsung heroes as well. And John, you and Dr. Stephen Nubbs are the unsung heroes, because you went with him to the state and you acquired the charter to make Socrates Academy be here. And you stood with him all these years. You stayed with him, stuck with him all these years, up to now, and I hope forevermore. You know, it's been said that whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon, must inevitably come to pass. Larry Peroulas epitomizes those words. As a businessman, I know the value but as a human being, helping people and reaching out to the community is a much greater reward. And that's what Larry believed in. That's why he put his heart and soul into making this a wonderful school. The school started with 68 students. He wanted a campus that emulated the scholars that would come out of this school. He didn't want to go to a Kmart. He found a half-finished Masonic lodge on this property. And the Masons obviously had run out of funds, and they were trying to raise money to finish the project. He said, "You've got to go and convince them. This is a sacred thing that we're doing here." And by divine providence, they decided to let us acquire it. And with my brother's enthusiastic support, we did. That's when I really found Larry's dedication, his dogged determination, perseverance, and never, never, ever give up. We had many challenges with the property, but he would never be deterred from any problem, any obstacle, any roadblock. It's got to happen. Whether there was a water stream under the building, no big deal. We'll put French drains all over the parking lot, under the parking lot. At the gym, if the sewer was not going downhill, we'll pump it uphill. And then the most incredible thing is that we had a deadline and we had to meet it. And he said, the school's opening tomorrow and we've got to have it done. We had all the inspections except one. And then we failed the driveway. He said, we got to get it open tomorrow. I said, how are we going to do that? He said, we're going to tear it up and redo it. For some miracle, we got floodlights, we got jackhammers, and at midnight, we had a concrete truck laying, and we were laying concrete to get that entrance ready for the school. Obviously, it didn't happen the next day, but it wasn't long at all that it was open. So I know you've heard all these accolades that are all true, that all that I witnessed working with him side by side. And it's remarkable. We in this world need heroes. We need heroes that have the dreams, that have the vision, that have the inspiration in order to make it happen. And he is a hero for doing that, because Socrates Academy will, for generations to come, enhance all the scholars and their parents that have the privilege of coming here. Thank you.
At this time, anyone who would like to make any remarks, this is the time for any of you that would wish to say something to the family or to just to the audience as well. Please do so. Is the other mic somewhere, the portable mic?
Kalimera. Good morning. Why am I doing this with my anxiety and my heart is beating? I don't know. I'm a mother of Summer and Dorian Apostolo. My name is Christina. I'm from Queens, New York, living out here for 7 years now. And 5 years ago, I was looking in the newspaper and I saw Greek lessons by a man named Mr. Peroulas. I said, oh, how nice. I told my husband, I should go learn Greek because my dad can tell you my Greek is bad. And my dad speaks fluent Greek, reads and writes. The whole family did. And every time he sees me, he goes, So, your kids are in Greek school, but you know how to say, Tikanis kala, bravo. So, he taught me Greek, that man, with passion in his eyes. I kept my maiden name, I hyphenated Psomiadis Apostolo. So he would say to me, Psomiadis, bravo, when I got something right. It could have been something so simple as the cheese is tiri. And this man looked at me like I won an award. He was so proud. He took the time to talk to me, to go over my homework. I didn't know him. I didn't know this was his school and that I'd be here 1 year later with my kids. Because of this man, my kids get education, so high school, and they could take on our Greek culture until the day they cross. There is no big enough thank you to this man for creating this school of excellence. Mr. Peroulas, you are amazing. Bravo to you, and thank you for everything you taught me. My grandfather in his grave is more proud because I met you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I want to say a few words unprepared, but I'll tell you from the heart. And to the students who are in the back and over there, hopefully you'll hear it as well. When we began, I'm Nick Ballas, I'm one of the founders also with John, Tony, and Larry. When we began the journey for Socrates, I will tell you there were many, many times we said, this, it can't happen, it's not going to work. And Larry said, yes, it will. He never gave up. He never gave up hope, as you heard Tony say. The one thing, and I'll say this to the students, that you keep inside you. Larry did everything with passion. His heart was there. His belief was there. It was going to happen. It did happen. So to the students, I'll say this to you. He always said, shoot for the stars. If you don't reach the star, grab on to the moon and ride it. And it's not just reaching the moon, it's a journey that you'll take. The journey is the beauty that you'll have. Our memory of Larry, the times and the moments we had with him, we will always cherish. And to each of you, the family, and to all of us, because we are family with him, thank you.
I'm not going to take much of your time, but I felt I needed to share this to you. So it was May 2021, a Saturday evening in Athens, a few days after my transfer here was announced by the Greek Ministry of Education. So I was driving to the cinema with a friend, and the mobile goes off. And I see North Carolina and thought, oh God, what is this? So I pulled over. I thought I have to answer that. So I heard a voice and said, Miss Anika, I am Larry Peroula from North Carolina. And he started talking half Greek, half English to me. And I was thinking, so what is this that's happening? He said, Anastasia, I need to talk to you. I read your resume and I need to talk to you about our school. And I thought, yes, Mr. Peroulas, I'd love to do that, but I'm driving to the cinema now. And I'm driving and I can't talk. So we decided that we'll meet. We gave an appointment for Sunday, tried to calculate the different hours. I had no idea where North Carolina was, what the time difference was. Anyway, we started talking, so we talked the next day. And our offices from New York had given to me already the various schools that they had an availability for Greek language teachers. So he talked to me, and I could hear the voice of a rather older man with the words and the spirit of a very young man. So I thought, if a school has such a person there, so inspirational, so young in mind, well, this school must be worth something. So I decided to come here to Socrates Academy instead of the other schools. And I'm grateful for that. And I think I talk on behalf of some other Greek teachers here. I think, I haven't asked them, but I think I do talk on their behalf to say how grateful we are to him, how grateful I am to him that he made that phone call to me. Thank you.
My name is Jimmy Cavaliers. I'm going to speak on behalf of HEPA, which Larry was a member and loved. And his enthusiasm, of course, is contagious. And when he came to one of our board meetings and wanted some money, or needed money for the school, not only did he come and make his presentation, he had a booklet that was very well done. And it was inspirational because HEPA at that time had given large donations to the churches in the community, but never to a project or to a school. And it was an opportunity because when you hear, HEPA is American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association. Education's a big part. And Larry gave us that opportunity to make a donation, and we made a $50,000 donation for the language lab. We paid it over a couple of years, and then later on, as soon as that was paid, he says, we see Larry again, we need more, we want to do a field, we need an expansion. It's a beautiful drawing because, you know, every school needs a field, you know, a track. And requesting additional funds. So for the first time, we made a commitment for $100,000 to give to Socrates for the expansion because it's athletics, mind, growing, just everything that the Greek culture, the Greek athletes promoted was happening at Socrates, and we should be a part of it. So we committed and we made that donation, and we fulfilled it actually a year in advance, just prior to Larry passing away. I don't know if my time's up.
It's my phone. It's my phone.
Oh, somebody's calling me. Yeah, but on behalf of all the members of HEPA in Charlotte, we truly are going to miss Larry. And our office actually is on the second floor of the Every Time building, where he was also the executive secretary, and we'd see each other. And it was mentioned, and is it Zoe? Is that your name, the lady? You know, she mentioned a couple of words about Larry, but his enthusiasm to where not only did he work hard, he was humble. You know, here's a man that ran our Greek school at Holy Trinity, that had the vision for this school and worked tirelessly. and wouldn't say no. That's true. He, to me, is the Jim Valvano of Greeks. Never, never give up. But he, when he makes his mind up, he does it in a humble but aggressive manner. And to be willing to be a waiter, go teach Greek school, have a program, go work as executive secretary for the association, and then come back to the school and work here. You don't do that unless you're spirit, you love the institutions you're working for. You don't work like that unless you believe in your vision and what you want to accomplish. And I don't know how we're going to replace him. But there will be somebody out here who's going to pick up the torch. By just listening to the speakers, the people on the board, and how they said such nice things about him. And like George says, he was a hero in his own right. And to see these children speak Greek that aren't Greek heritage with the same accent that you would hear children in Greece speak, it's absolutely amazing. And what he's done on this property, it's just unbelievable, divine intervention, whatever we need, it's not a miracle in the sense, spiritual miracle, but it's a miracle that we've accomplished what we've accomplished and you have accomplished to go from elementary to middle school and now the high school. And my role in this from the other side was he called and said, we need this 6 acres behind the school. We want to do our middle school. Okay. We worked on it, and the attorney we had, bless his soul, Lloyd Balcom, because he's in his 80s, and he would help us out. But he would get frustrated because Larry would get him on the phone, or we couldn't do things fast enough. Larry said, we need to buy this, but we need to do this, but we're running behind time. But that was what we needed. We needed that inspiration. And we bought the 6 acres for the middle school expansion. But the most difficult part is how do we get the additional land for y'all to build the high school? I have to thank Irene Yapis, who's my sister-in-law that's here. You know, the church over here didn't want to sell. You know, let's buy the church. I wanted George to go buy the church. Well, we never got to buy the church, but believe it or not, we finally were able to buy the additional land for the expansion of the high school. And we needed that land to build. The field wasn't going to be quite big enough. And when they drew the plans and they said, well, we need this little sliver here to build a full-size regulation field. Well, they went and got the little sliver, but in doing that, they said, no, we need more land. We need that other 5, 6 acres too, you know, because we need to expand. And it wasn't easy to do, but I'll give Irene credit. And the gentleman who was a real estate fellow that represented the church, I happened to have dealings with him before that weren't successful, but Irene had a wonderful relationship with him. And it was almost like, okay, Irene, you work with this gentleman, and they made it happen. And now the grading's begun, the school's gonna, just everything about it, the engineers, whatever needed to do, the planning, it all came together, and it's happening. But it really is sad that he's not going to be able to see the graduation of the high school and the first graduating class. But he will be here in spirit, I know. And if it wasn't for his persistence we as a community in Charlotte would not have this wonderful school that's going to be a beacon for many years. He won his national championship where he became a presidential school. But it'll continue. We're going to get the Niakos Foundation eventually down here to help accomplish what they believe in, what Larry believed in, and we're not going to have just a great school and a state school, a presidential school here at Socrates Academy. I really think it has potential to be the best charter school in the United States. May his memory be eternal.
Totally unscripted. My name is Mr. Frederick. At least my students call me Mr. Frederick. One of my students, Mylan Patton, I wanted to introduce Mylan to you. This is a product of what Larry Peroulas had in mind. This young man is going to be one of our leaders for years to come. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud of him. He was one of my first students. It's about this big. I'm not sure how he got to be this young man here. But the 15 years that I spent here at Socrates Academy, I want to thank Larry for because it was the best time of my life. The students that I met, the parents working with us, us teachers, I see a lot of teachers who are still here from my time here. We are the cogs in Mr. Peroulas' machine. And, you guys are doing an amazing job. It's a product of that. Thank you very much.
Morning. My name is Mylan Patton. Mr. Frederick, thank you so much for the introduction. He was my third grade math teacher, and I remember before we even got into his class, he gave us a big, big blue booklet with a bunch of math problems. And if we finished it, we got to go over to his house and do a cookout and whatnot. So I remember my summer was inundated with completing hundreds and hundreds of math problems. And that just goes to show what Mr. Peroulas built. And none of this could happen without a vision. And I thank God so much for his vision. I came here in 2005. I was one of the original 60 or so students, and my parents aren't here, but I reckon they would say that it was a tough decision to make. You know, taking a chance on a school, a people who don't really look like me, a language that's very foreign to me. It made it much, much easier to make that decision and to call this place home with a man like Mr. Peroulas at the helm. He believed in us, he believed in me, he loved us, he loved me, and his dedication, we can see the buildings from going to Monroe Road with that one building to a multi-building campus with kindergarten all the way up to elementary, middle school, and high school. This is one man and one vision. I have so many fond memories. I learned how to inquire. I remember even back in kindergarten, I would just go through Greek language, go through Greek math every day, and then go back home and sit at the dinner table, just keep on asking questions. And that's how I knew that I had a love for education, and that was cultivated here in Mr. Frederick's class, and with Miss DH at the helm, having such a great team around him. It was really his leadership. I see more alumni here. I see some former teachers of mine here. I wanted to just tell the family that we love you. We will never forget about Mr. Peroulas. We're all here because of Mr. Peroulas, and this is his legacy. So please, please have joy in the midst of this. We love you.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to say something. Hi, everyone. My name is Eliana, like Mylan. I'm also an original scholar. Sorry. I didn't realize how much Mr. Peroulas had impacted my life until he passed away. But like I said, I was an original scholar, so Mr. Peroulas was always like in the background of my life. He was very close with my mom, and he was always like a papu to me. And I graduated from Socrates extremely proud. And if you know anything about me, I'm very proud to be Greek. It's the first thing that comes out of my mouth when I meet someone new. And I have a dream to one day to work in Greece and live there, or work, you know, for the Stavros Foundation is actually like one of my main goals in life. But to be like a part of the Greek culture and to be a voice for them and an advocate for them is a goal of mine. And so a couple years ago, once I figured out that that was my dream, I decided to talk to Mr. Peroulas about it. And I just went to him to kind of brainstorm. And, you know, when I told people about this, like, oh, I want to go work in Greece or work for Greece, something like that, people would be like, why? They would question me, put doubts in my mind. When I told Mr. Peroulas what I wanted to do, he didn't question me for a second. He sat down with me and he just wanted to help me. He just wanted to help me get there. He trusted that my dream was in my heart for a reason, and he was ready to help me accomplish that dream no matter what. And like everyone else has said today, Mr. Peroulas was determined in life, and he knew what he wanted, and he went after it. And he was a dreamer, and he accomplished his dreams, and his dreams will continue to go out into the world, like students like me, like students like Mylan, like everyone else, Mr. Frederick spoke, even the teachers. His dreams will continue in us. And so I want to thank Mr. Peroulas, I want to thank the family for him and his legacy and what he taught me without me even realizing it. Like, I had no idea he had put this spirit and this inspiration in me. And so I just wanted to say that. And ευχαριστούμε και σας αγαπώ.
Other one that we have. So, and this is that Mr. Peroulas loved to watch and attend and participate dances and songs. So, της Δικαιοσύνης Ήλιε and Pedozali. Thanks, can you open this?
Μες του μαγιού της μυρωδιές στα κόκκινα κεράσια. Έλα για δέστε πως χορεύουνε τις Κρήτης τα κοράσια. Άλλο χορό δεν χαίρομαι, μόνο το πέτο ζάλι. Μου κάνει τρία ζαλόκρος και δυο για γέρνη πάλι. Νικορό βασιλικέ, κρυφά να σε ποτίζω. Όπα γιατί είναι οι μυρωδιές πολλές και δεν τσιντά γιατίζω.
Peroulas, αθάνατος!
Morning. I am honored to be here today to celebrate the life of Mr. Larry Peroulas. As I began writing this speech, I kept returning to one word: legacy. Your legacy is every life, every person you've touched. As a leader, it's the organizations, the teams, and the people you've touched. It's how you've shown up for every one of them, who you helped mentor and taught, and those your model and journey have moved. It's your behavior. It's how you've walked your talk and the example you've shown each and every life you've touched. It's been said, carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the minds of others and the stories they share about you. Mr. Peroulas leaves quite a legacy. As I think about the lessons he has left behind, it really all boils down to sacrifice. The sacrifice of thought. Mr. Peroulas gave much thought and consideration to the pain and problems of others. He gave thought to what our young children need in education, in school. He gave considerable thought to teaching others about the Greek language, culture, and heritage. Mr. Peroulas was laser focused on the excellence of Socrates Academy. One of the last conversations I had with Mr. Peroulas was about the challenges of balancing being a principal and a mother. We cried, we may have argued a little bit, but in the end, he stood up, we hugged, and as he left, he told me that he loved me. That is one of the last memories I have of him, and one I will cherish forever. He also sacrificed time. He gave so freely of his time to Socrates Academy. Many don't realize that as a board of director, president, and founder, he never took a penny from the school. He gave so freely because he loved the mission and the values of Socrates Academy. He did this not for accolades, but because he believed in the mission of Socrates. He sacrificed his energy. Down to his last days, he focused his energy on what he could do for Socrates Academy. In fact, I think it is only after his passing that many of us truly realize all he did for the school, for us, and how incredibly empty our hearts are without him. And yet, as I mourn his passing, I'm reminded of the gift he left behind, his legacy. Our time on earth is limited. We all know this, yet for some reason, we generally push it to the side. We get caught up in the trap of believing there are infinite amount of tomorrows when simply it isn't the case. We are here for a short time, but that doesn't mean we can't leave behind a legacy. And I don't mean famous or visible, but a legacy that makes a difference in some way. The name of Mr. Peroulas will forever be associated with a strong commitment and sacrifice. May he inspire us to dedicate ourselves to a cause beyond just us, one that impacts those for generations. I am thankful, all too short it seems, that I had with Mr. Peroulas. It's my one true hope that I can make him proud and continue to contribute to the dreams and hopes he had for Socrates Academy. May we all continue to aspire to excellence in his honor. Now we're going to have a few remarks from the family.
First and foremost, our family would like to thank everyone for being here today to celebrate the life and the memory of our father, Larry. We have received an immense amount of love and support from all of you these past few months, and our hearts are filled with appreciation and gratitude for your kindness. I know many of you can relate to the loss of a loved one. They're simply out of words to describe the loss we feel, or the longing we had on Thanksgiving and Christmas to see him slice the turkey as he did every year, or to conversate for hours about the latest topics. And we did argue at home. Taking time, he always took time to provide advice, never missing an opportunity to educate, and most importantly, to love us unconditionally. Life isn't the same without him, but his presence is still very much alive in our hearts, souls, and spirits. We still hear his words of advice, we feel his presence, and the achievements he worked so hard to complete. And we strive daily to make him proud of who we are today. Anyone who knew our father knew his passion for educating and helping children receive the best education they could. Even in the weeks before he passed, his main concern was he had so much still to do for the school. We thank every teacher and staff member for continuing to fulfill his dream of making Socrates Academy a wonderful institution for education and learning. If you could be here today, even though he's in spirit, he would be on this stage welcoming you all with the warmest smile on his face. He would be dancing amongst the children and with the children and keeping traditions alive. We can go on for hours talking about how amazing person he was, his passion for education, the role model he still is for us and for many other people. But I would like to say what he always loved to say about the school and the traditions, that whatever is not celebrated, it's forgotten and dies. So we need to keep this spirit alive, and we try to, our family also will be available for the school, for all the needs that the school, John, Mr. Stigano, Mr. George Manto, our family will always be available to you for anything we can do, we will do to support the cause that my father lived for. And I wanted to say one thing about his passion for education. He not only wanted everybody to learn, but he wanted to make sure that when you learn something, when you read something, you actually had it, you had a grasp. You had υπομονή και επιμονή. Να μάθεις and keep what you learn and make sure it's yours after you learn it. So I'm gonna leave you with a small example. That was over 40 years ago. I was probably in the 8th grade. And I don't even remember the project, and we had to write an essay, and I was in middle school. So I used to do my homework. My father used to always, after come home from work at night, he took time to make sure I had done my homework and everything. So he helped me write an essay. He helped me with that project. And he used very specific words and words that, that were not common, and especially a middle schooler wouldn't know. So after he helped me, we wrote that. Then he took the time, and we spent about 2 hours for him to make sure that I knew exactly what the writing was saying, that I knew exactly what every word meant, and I could explain it in case somebody asked me after I read my project. And there was a word that, of course, I never forgot after that. A Greek word, it's idiosynkrasia. It's idiosyncrasy, it's in English too. So a long story short, we spent 2 hours, probably went 12 o'clock at night. Next day I went to school. My time came, I read the project and my essay, and everybody looked at me, and even the teacher said, that's not yours. I said, what do you mean that's not mine? She said, you didn't write that. And I was so proud to be able to tell the teacher, no, I didn't write it, but I know it. I know what it is, I know what it says, and I can explain it to you because I was taught last night, exactly what it is, and I'm prepared for this moment. So thank you very much, and our family is really grateful for everybody and all the support we have received. And again, we will be open and available to anything this school needs from us. Thank you again. Thank you. Have a good day.
Before we have a slideshow, I wanted to personally thank everyone, the committee that put this together today. I want to thank all of you for coming. I see a lot of familiar faces from the past, and in hearing everyone talk about Larry, I hear the words persistence, passion, argumentative. All of this was Larry Peroulas. And yes, we argued, we raised our voices, but we loved each other. And we were looking, and still are looking, to do what's best for the school. And I want to thank Effie and the family for giving us Larry and sharing that with him, because this is his dream and we're going to hopefully continue it. And Stacy, you see all the dancers here? We're going to take a group down to Atlanta next year, okay? All right. So please thank everyone, and hopefully we'll stick around and watch the slideshow. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. There's one thing here that I want to give to Costa, Maria, and to Effie. On behalf of Socrates Academy, here is a token of our appreciation to remember your dad and your husband.
Κι συννεφούλα μου, σαν συννεφάκι φεύγει ξαναγυρνάει. Ξεχνάει κι ένα βράδυ, αχ καρδούλα μου, όχνω ξαφνικά τη συννεφούλα μου. Έχω άλλο πια να με γελάει, μ' αγαπάει τη μια, την άλλη με ξεχνάει. Κι έρχεται ο Απρίλης, αχ καρδούλα μου, κι ο Μάης, συννεφούλα μου. Δίχως τραγούδι, δάκρυ και φιλί, δεν είναι άνοιξη φέτος αυτή. Συννεφούλα, να γυρίσεις σου ζητώ και τριγύρνα μ' όσους θέλεις κάθε βράδυ. Δε έχω άλλο να είμαι μοναχός, μ' αγαπάς τη μια κι ας... Χωρίς την αγάπη σου η πίκρα θα με πήγε το δρόμο. Εσύ με οδήγησες στη γη, στην ελπίδα. Άλλη μόνο άλλη. Με ζωή την ομορφιά σου δεν γνωρίσαμε. Η νύχτα πλώθηκε παντού, είναι το τραγούδι.
If I should stay, maybe in your way, so I'll go, but I know you every step of and I
is all I'm don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. And I
σοφή. Σε να κόψω το σε αυτό το μαύρο ανώ έμαστα είναι και πώς να κλάψεις